Hello, welcome to A Man's Perspective with Andres Garcia. I'm your host, Andres Garcia. Today I'll be having a conversation with Gabriela Maravilla. She's been a long-time friend, 10 plus years. One of the things I admire about Gabriela, one of the first conversations that we had was about goals. She told me about short-term goals, long-term goals, and the most impressive thing about Gabriela was that she was okay with sharing her goals and then sharing the results. I thought that was it was admirable because a lot of people say, "Oh, do this, do that, do this, do that, and you'll be successful." But she stuck to what she taught me, to the words, the advice that she's given me, and she's tremendously successful because of that. Gabriela is a licensed real estate agent and has been working with mortgages for as long as I've known her, which has been 10 plus years. So, Gabriela, tell us a little bit about yourself.
I'm Gabriela Maravilla. I work with the mortgage guys. I am a loan officer assistant, so I basically run your loan from beginning to end. I also do credit repair on the side with the agency in West Covina, and yeah,
That's what it's called, the agency?
the agency.
Yeah. Do you have a website or Instagram
It
or?
is the website is join the age. Well, no, I don't even know it. Join agency. Ooh, I don't even know it. Can I get my
Yeah,
phone?
yeah, yeah,
I'm sorry, I
yeah,
don't really use it. I just
yeah,
shoot people my stuff.
yeah.
It is joinagencyla.com.
Oh, okay.
And I mean, I get a lot of referrals because of my Instagram.
Yeah.
So
What's your Instagram?
it is Gabriela underscore Maravilla 01.com.
Oh, okay.
01, actually not .com. I don't have a website.
It's okay. It's okay. This is your very first episode, so I'm probably gonna make a lot of mistakes, but it's okay. We'll work through
All
them. We'll
right.
talk through them. So I just wanted to I like I said, I've known you for such a long time, and I really admire all the great advice that you've given me. I know it's benefited me and changed my life. So I just wanted to share some of that advice, some of your wisdom with our audience, with the people that may watch us or may not watch us. But I definitely want to share your advice. So I'm going to ask you a couple questions and just
Okay.
respond to them, and we'll continue the conversation however you see fit or we both
Okay.
see fit. Okay? All right. Okay. So first question. What advice would you give a man trying to date a career-driven woman, and what traits do you find admirable in a man?
Well, advice, I would say, I mean, I think a lot of us, we're so focused, on our jobs, our kids, everything. And I just think having somebody that support
Yeah.
and, just them uplifting us and being positive because, we can come home and I feel beat down and tired and I'm so drained when I'm home. And I think them being a little understanding to that.
Yeah. Yeah, that is tough. Because now I've noticed that a lot of men now have been really feminized.
Yeah.
It's a lot of the guys that I've worked with. It's hard to find a traditional guy. I think with the modern women, there's modern men, and the roles have kind of reversed. That's the best way I could put it. So that's what I've seen.
Yeah.
Um, so, what advice would you give a man or me to try to become better, to make myself more attractive to women?
Well, I think, what I'm seeing and a lot of my girlfriends are seeing, and a lot of us are in therapy for things that we've been through, right? But there's very few men that have actually done that work on themselves. And I mean, we know a few, and to hear that in a man doing that within himself, it's like you are going to show up prepared for that relationship.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you, so that's a man, I think, who is obviously showing that he wants it and he's working for it so that you don't make the same mistakes. Because I know that's why us women are in it.
Yeah, that is a trait or things that I think that I've noticed that's changing. Like myself, I go to therapy. I
That's
thank
awesome.
God that
Yeah.
my job they provided for us for free.
Hmm.
The psychologists are always there in our briefings with us.
Hmm.
So I have noticed an upward tick in a lot of my coworkers
Hmm.
taking therapy. So yeah, I
Yeah.
have noticed that it's getting better. So I'm hoping that it'll trickle down to you and your friends,
Yeah.
as far as the guys healing themselves.
Yeah.
So I hope so. All right, question number two. What have you learned from your past relationships and how have they shaped your perspective on dating and love today?
I need a drink. Kidding.
That is tough, huh?
Oh, what have I learned?
That is tough because things are changing so fast. They're changing so quick,
Hmm.
you
Hmm.
know? And with relationships, just it's wild. So what have you noticed? What are some of the trends you've noticed? What are some things that you've learned?
I've, in my experience, like that situation I told you,
Yeah.
I feel like men are so trying to rush things.
Wow, that's
And
interesting.
yeah, and it's a little scary to me now. And now I'm just kind of like, ooh, like I step back a little bit. Um, and I think there's no rush. Like if people are hitting it off and things can only get better.
And why do you think that they're trying to rush things? What has changed in men that they're trying to rush things?
You know, I think because I think it has to do a lot with social media, that people have all these options and women.
Yeah, I think social media has plays a tremendous change or tremendous whatever would you want to put in there. Uh, the social media is changing everything. The this is gonna be kind of weird because this is what I've noticed. This is just an observation in the
Hmm.
group of guys that I hang with. My my really attractive, good-looking friends have a ton more girls that they're going out with and speaking with.
Hmm.
Um, and my maybe lesser attractive friends, and I think they're all handsome men, by the way, but
Hmm.
maybe some of my lesser attractive ones that maybe society doesn't find that attractive, like their scarcity for them is like a, a daily life thing. You know, they they're just like super clingy on whatever attention they can get from any girl. It's wild,
Mm.
and I really believe it's because of social media. That's what I just an opinion and observation, but I really think it's because of that.
Mm-mm.
Have you noticed anything like that?
Well, I mean, I think the ones that have been clingy on me are not that great. I mean, I don't know, but see, even like my girlfriends, Andy, they're really pretty girls. They're
Yeah.
not all dating all these hot guys.
Really?
No, no.
What are they going out with?
You know,
Or what type of guys I should say? What caliber of men?
I mean, it could be different. Some of them are just dating. They could be into different things, whether like one of my girlfriends is dating a guy, right? They're really into the same music. So we go to a lot of concerts together and they just have fun and they click and they get along like that. So that's their thing, right? But another one of my girlfriends, I think it was somebody she met through the business and that hasn't been the best.
Oh
But
wow.
I mean, when you see her, she's gorgeous. And then I think even in my incident, well, mine was very good looking. Everybody thought it was looks, but you know what I liked is I think I'm so old school. I want to get to know somebody. I
Yeah.
want somebody who, takes and makes that time for me. I'm not asking to spend all this money, but I think just showing that effort and, you know,
What do you think about the saying, opposites attract? But I personally believe that the more similarities you have with someone, the better the relationship will be. What do you think about that? Do opposites attract? Are similarities the way to go? Like, what do you think?
I think it's opposites attract.
Really?
Yes, because in my last situation, I think we had a lot in common, but there was a lot of things where we were butting heads on. And I think to me, I really think it was an ego thing in him.
Yeah.
And it wasn't a problem for me, but it's just, I noticed that I would refer back when it came to questions where it was my first relationships and we were total opposite.
What about okay, what about for like long-term relationships? Is it still opposites attract or for long-term should you have more things similar? Like your friend, you said your friend they like the same music, they like the same foods, all this.
Well, I think it is about, to me, I think it opposites attract. Um, my sister, I think she's very different from her husband,
Mhm.
right? But she's doing things that he likes. He's cycling, she goes with him. She goes to the gym. She never did those things before, but yet he'll go with her to things she likes,
Uh,
whether it's to the spa, whatever. So I think it's just making that effort to be involved in whatever they're interested in.
do you think that that's something that couples are not doing?
Yeah,
Really?
yeah,
Oh, it's interesting.
yeah,
I didn't expect that. I didn't expect that at
yeah.
all. All right, let's go to the next question. How do you maintain a work-life balance while excelling in your career and raising a family? God, that's tough too.
That is because I am working a lot. There's
Yeah.
days where I don't get home till 7:38.
Wow.
Yeah, because by the time I leave, my kid is always the last one to be picked up from
Yeah, yeah,
school. He thinks he's going home with his daycare because he's the last one.
That's
But,
funny.
and a lot of the times it's like my work doesn't stop. I work in real estate. Our work never ends,
Yeah, yeah,
because it's, when is a client available? Most of them are available after work.
yeah.
So,
Hours, yeah.
I mean, I don't stop taking phone calls because if that's when they're available, I need to be available to them.
Yeah. So how do you balance that with relationships? Are you upfront? Do you just expect them to know what to do, or like, well, how would you say would be the best way to balance that?
Well, I mean, I do mention it, hey, I don't know what time these clients are going to call, or I'm expecting a client. And I think at first they say they're okay, but then when it really comes down to it, because my work really just doesn't end, I could be working, if I don't have my kids, I could be working till 10 o'clock at night, checking emails, trying to collect conditions to be able
Wow.
to submit a
Yeah.
loan in the morning and just prep it, right? And so I had to, take a step back. But then I also know from my team is that I don't stop. I just keep going. And I said, you know what? I do have to kind of take time to be able to have a life.
Wow. So kind of put boundaries on yourself then.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
But that's difficult because um, because clients can leave. You know, they can. There's so many agents. There's so many loan
Well, especially
officers.
right now. Yeah.
Yeah,
Hmm.
they can leave. So you kind of want to put that energy, that effort into them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow, that's difficult. Um, so I want to talk about raising a family. Um, it seems like in this day and age, it's harder. It's harder. I mean, gone are the days where the wife could stay home or the woman could stay home and the guy takes care of everything else. Those days are gone.
Yeah.
That's never coming back. Things are
Yeah.
so expensive. Things are so. I mean, now it's two. You need two incomes almost. It's almost a mandatory. Like I've talked to you before, the loans that we do, it's two incomes. It's almost mandatory.
Yeah.
So how do you put your family first, or maybe not first, but how do you include your family in what you do? Do you just force yourself to make time? Do you?
You know what I do, and what I really am trying to change up is that, because I've worked so much, and I think with my middle one is I missed out on so much because I was always working and I didn't have boundaries. So now with, my little one, I really am trying to, like, when I'm there, I'm in that moment. I'm not going to take calls. I'll put down my phone, and I'm making it a point to do that
Wow,
because
that's a
he
lot of
noticed
discipline.
that, Mom, you're always on your phone, and
Yeah.
that broke my heart.
Wow, that takes a lot of discipline though, because
It
our phones
is.
are so important to us. I think they're kind of an extension of us now.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're part cyborg now, whatever that means, but because
Yeah.
they really are a part of us. I know, like me, I had everything on my phone,
Yeah.
from medical records to my kids'
Everything.
birth certificates. Everything's on my phone now.
Mm-hmm.
That's tough.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you're doing a good job because I've met your kids and they're phenomenal people. So
Thank
I
you.
think
I
you're doing a
try.
great job. Yeah.
Yeah.
Go back to what men can do to make themselves more appealing, make themselves more valuable, make themselves more um, whatever, better for
Mm.
whoever they're trying to attract in their life.
Yeah.
What else could men do besides being supportive? Um, like, does physique have anything to do with it? Do finances have anything to do with it? Confidence? Does confidence have, what role does confidence play in female, male, or relationship dynamics?
Well, what I'm seeing right now is that I think, confidence, yes. I mean, that for sure. But just, having their finances in order. I mean, what, what grown woman wants to sit here to tell a man, and better yet, like, kind of guide him and telling him what to do. You should have all that stuff in line, you
Wow,
know?
that's key. It's important because I've noticed a lot of guys don't. They're just they're the
But it's
women.
both. I mean, I know women who don't.
That's true. Yeah, we've seen applications where neither of them have their things ready. They just
Hmm.
want a house. They think because they have $50,000 that they're gonna magically get a house.
Yeah.
Um, what else? What else could what does physical fitness have? What does that have to? Does that play any role? Like, with a 300-pound man versus a 180-pound guy, does that make a difference to in relationships, do you think?
Well, I think yes, because I mean, as a woman, I mean, we have a lot of us who we take care of themselves, right? But I mean, as a man, we kind of want that too. I mean, I'm not saying he has to be buff with all these muscles and all that. No, but at least, he's got to be able to, I mean, want to take care of himself and keep himself up because I know a lot of us, we do that,
Yeah, yeah.
you know?
Well, that's good. That's wonderful.
Hmm.
Wow, I'm so happy that you came today. I'm so grateful. Thank you. I've
Of
learned a lot, like
course.
always, from you, you know. So thank you. I wanted to thank our, or I'm sorry, do you have any questions for me? Anything that you want to?
No, I don't.
Okay. I wanted to thank our my audience. I appreciate all of you guys for tuning in, for watching this, and I hope that you've learned something like I have. So thank you. In honor of Domestic Awareness Month, we're going to talk about an issue that is close to home. In this podcast, we're trying to create a safe space for men and for women to talk about domestic violence. So I wanted to ask you, I know you shared this with me earlier, but I
Hmm.
want to also talk about it on camera. You're currently going through something where you were a victim of domestic violence.
Hmm.
So whatever you feel like talking about, let's talk about that so we can let people know that there's ways out, there's ways to protect yourself, and there's ways to get help. More importantly.
Okay. Um, well, I know in my situation, I had several cases and I never reported them. And in speaking to certain friends, mainly attorneys, I wish I would have spoken up. I really wish I would have spoken up to speak about all those things. And I think a large part of me, I was really embarrassed. I felt guilty. And I think he played on that guilty part. So,
Yeah, unfortunately, there are people, I've been noticing, I've been looking at different statistics regarding this, and it seems that a lot of women are starting to get arrested too for domestic violence.
mhm.
But you had made a comment about that earlier, how you think it could be taking advantage of a specific situation, fear or something
Yeah,
like that. Could you
yeah.
elaborate on that?
Well, I know in my situation, I'm not an abusive person, and I know in my situations, I think a lot of the times I was a little bit too confused as what is going on and how did it escalate to get to this certain, how did we get here? And a lot of the times I wanted to just talk about it, but in just talking about it, and even me, I noticed that in, grabbing and just saying, hey, wait, stop, right? And him pulling away and a scratch on the arm, it was used against me to, if you speak up, you're going to go to jail. So I stood quiet in a lot of these things, but in a lot of these, situations, I was actually hurt.
Yeah.
I had the bruised lip. I had, it was, and I stood quiet.
I'm so sorry that you had to go through that.
Hmm.
I would never wish that on anybody.
Yeah.
It's such a horrible situation to be in. You feel so powerless. You feel, it's
Yeah.
so but I hope that I know you mentioned that you are getting help for that. You're talking to a therapist. So
Hmm.
that's a good thing. That's a
Yeah.
very good thing.
Yeah.
Um, so would you recommend everybody seek therapy? Seek therapy?
I think I would, they should seek therapy, but at the same time, it's like, once it happens once, in speaking to several friends and it escalates. I know somebody told me, it's going to go from name calling to, it'll go for something simple as whether it's pulling the hair and some, poking at you. And then it got really bad where, I ended up with a bruised lip. I ended up with cuts on my face. Um,
I'm
and I
sorry.
think once you see once, it doesn't end there. It doesn't end there.
Are
And if
there
you don't speak up, it just escalates.
are there any telltale markers that men or women can pay attention to say, hey, this is going to escalate. I should probably get out now. Is there anything that you would advise, like things to look for?
You know what? Looking back on my situation, what I noticed is that, there was a lot of things where he would go 0 to 100, and it could be just a conversation. And I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, wait, how did we get here? What's going on? Right. And I'm confused. And then it would end up in something like that. And I think that's huge. Pay attention to that. And I ignored a lot of that. And then I think the way he made it seem was that it was all me. It was my fault.
So it seems like they have some narcissistic traits then, because they want to cast the blame. They want to take accountability off themselves.
Well, in going to therapy, what I learned is this, and I've spoken to several different therapists, several different attorneys, and, they all did mention there was narcissistic traits. And what he was doing is projecting onto me, you're this, you're that. that never happened. And look at me in my face after I was bruised saying, that didn't happen.
Oh
Just,
my goodness, really?
yes. And I would be losing it just looking at me and saying, just apologize to me because that never happened.
What the?
Yeah.
Dude, that's
So,
so unreal.
yeah.
I mean, I've never
Yeah.
experienced that or been part of that. So some of the things are kind of, I mean, I know I see them because I see them at work sometimes, but even when I see them, it's shocking. I'm like, dude, I can't, and they're not hearing you say it.
Mhm.
It's just as shocking, you know? It's like,
Yeah. So, I mean, and so what do? I throw myself in therapy thinking I'm the problem, right? And he was like, well, let's go to therapy. But everything was like, you're this, you're that, you did this. And I'm like, wait, no, that's not how it happened, right? And in therapy, when we finally decided to go to therapy together, it was very interesting to see that after hearing us both speak, Andy, the therapist said to him, you are projecting because of the things that you've been through, the things that you've seen your parents do, and you're projecting that onto her. And he told me, what you do, what he's doing to you is he's stonewalling you. You trying to get questions and answers to what happened, and he's shutting you down. So I did start thinking, okay, it is me. And then I'm going to therapy and I'm the one in therapy and he's done no therapy. And then to find out I'm the fifth woman he's done this to
oh my goodness.
and gotten away with it.
Oh my goodness.
That is, yeah.
Well, the good thing is now, I know you mentioned this to me, but he got arrested.
Hmm.
So he's going to face the jury system or the court system, I should say.
Hmm.
And hopefully things, because you also want him to get help and I want you to get help because
Hmm.
you said he's got kids and you don't want that legacy to continue or that
Right.
behavior to continue, I should say.
Right.
So I hope he gets the help that he needs, and
Yeah.
I'm grateful that you're getting the help you need.
Yeah.
I wanted to thank you for sharing your story. I know it's difficult to do.
Mhm.
I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful that you had the strength. Um, I hope that you continue to heal. I hope that you
Mhm.
continue to, help other people as much as you've helped me, you know. So thank you. For everyone watching, on the description below, we're going to leave the links and numbers to call for domestic awareness lines or domestic helplines. So again, Gabby, thank you so much. I really appreciate you.
But thank you for having me.
Thank you for watching. I hope you all have learned something because I know I have. With this podcast, I'm trying to create a safe space for all men to ask questions that they wouldn't feel comfortable asking anyone else. So if you have any questions, please leave them in the comments and I will address them. Because after all, who by teaching does not learn? So thank you for watching A Man's Perspective and please subscribe and like. Thank you.